G'day guys, today we are looking at batteries, in particular the Makita 40V Max, the 2.5 amp hour versus the 4 amp hour. We're going to put them through a few tests to see how they hold up against each other on high drain devices, but first up we will have a look at the different weights and measurements. Heaps of y'all thought this was just too damn big and heavy, so if you don't want to use that on one of your tools, this is a much better option for a drill or impact driver. It is approximately the same size and weight as a 18 volt LXT Makita battery. Let's have a look at those weights, shall we? Makita 4 amp hour battery, 1015 grams. 2.5 amp hour battery, 717 grams. 5 amp hour 18 volt battery, 620 grams. So around 100 grams difference between these two. That's quite interesting because they both have the same amount of cells and they both have 18650 cells. According to Makita, an XGT 4 amp hour battery is 133 millimeters long. I think they've over-measured themselves there. I only measure it as 131. Width-wise, we're looking at 82 according to them. I reckon it's only 80. See, they're overdoing it. But height-wise, there's a little bit of a discrepancy because they measure the height to this point here. That's the height. They negate all of this. I guess when it's attached to the tool, this is the extra height that will be sticking out of your tool, out the bottom of your impact driver, that sort of thing. But if we measure right to the top, up to this point here, if you have to store it in a drawer or anything like that, this is around 76 millimeters high. The 2.5 amp hour, once again they have measured it to this point. The overall height of this is around 70 millimeters, so it's 6 millimeters less. They also measure this height 6 millimeters less. It is narrower as well, coming in at around 77 millimeters. And in the length department, we're coming in at around 118. So if we put them side by side, there is quite a difference. Now both of these batteries are 36 volt or 40 volt max, but you'll notice they're quite different size. How come there's such different size when they both have 10 cells? Each of these has a row of 5 cells here at 3.6 volts each, and another row of 5 here at 3.6 volts each, which adds up to 36 volts. When you first charge them, you can get these up closer to 45 volts. But the batteries are rated individually, the cells, at 3.6 volts. That's why these are 36 volt batteries. This battery uses 18650 cells, this battery uses 21700s. So both of them have, like I say, 10 cells in series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This one also has 10 of the same cells as this battery. These batteries are almost identical. The only difference is these have 5 going along like this, and instead of seriesing them all up with the other 5, they are in parallel with the other 5. So you have 18 volts, and then you whack on 18 volts again in parallel, so you end up with just one 18 volt battery that is 5 amp hour. If you instead do those all in series, you'll end up with a 36 volt battery that's 2.5 amp hour. So half the amount of amp hours, but twice the voltage. So what other differences are there between these two batteries? Well, the newer 40 volt have more allowance for airflow so that they can charge them quickly. You have the airflow vent there and all coming through the bottom, so you can blow air right through these batteries a little bit better than these, which go in one end and out the other, but nothing out the bottom. Got far better contacts on these new 40 volt tools than the old 18 volt ones. Not that I've had problems with the contacts on the 18 volts, but these are far sturdier. The rails on the batteries are far sturdier. These are probably the most solid tool batteries you can now get. They certainly shit all over the affixment points that you get on one of these DeWalt batteries, for instance, which is one of the weakest in the industry. The Makita 40 volt charger, however, is the noisiest charger in the world, but it is pretty damn quick. These 4 amp batteries are rated to charge at 45 minutes. I have measured it now 3 times and they seem to come in at 43 minutes. This one I have measured once. It is meant to come in at 28 minutes and it came in at 27, so on schedule there. Right, that's the 2.5 freshly charged. And there's the 4 amp hour ready to go. So let's go get the angle grinder out and test some RPMs. 4 amp hour. 2.5 amp hour. Identical. And now the RPMs on the saw. 4 amp hour. 2.5 amp hour. Wow. Did you hear that? As soon as I pulled that trigger, I could hear it was faster. And it was around 150 faster at the beginning, though it was dropping quite quick. As we saw when we tested these before, the drop-off was very fast. The revs went down very quick on these 40-volt tools. But 2.5 won that battle. Who would have thought? What about with the impact driver? We'll go drive a couple of 200mm 14 gauge batten screws, one with each battery, see how that goes. The highly scientific stall test with the 4 amp hour. I have to move this camera, I think. Let's try this again. Shit, you've got to put some pressure on this bloody tool. The 2.5. Pretty similar. Might have been slightly easier to store with this. We'll do it one more time with the 4 amp. Yeah, I think the 4 is slightly harder to stop. Maybe. Let's go cut some wood with the saw here and we'll see if I can feel any differences there. Starting off with the 4 amp hour. What's a nice saw? 2.5. Now I know some of you are yelling, yeah, but that's not a high drain bloody situation there. we want to see these 21700 sows thrash these 18650s, so you need to rip some damn timber. Rip some sopping wet treated bloody 6x2s and shit. Okay, we'll go do that then. Unfortunately, sorry, it's not sopping wet. Sweet FA of any. Yeah, and I know that's not going to suit all of you either. One of you at the back, yeah, I can hear, yeah. What about cutting through 6 sheets of fibrillite and a bit of ply stuck in the middle? That's what I do every day. Oh, well, good for you. I can't test everything for everybody, okay? So after all those tests, both batteries still showing 4 bars. I haven't charged them in between any tests or anything. I've just done them all back to back. So now I'm just going to run these batteries flat on the angle grinder. We'll just time them and see how long each one lasts. I'm going to interrupt this test because, well, I'm going to lose the will to live otherwise. What I'm going to do now is test the RPM of both of these batteries when they're both on 2 bars, the 4 amp hour and the 2.5, and we'll see what the drop off has been between a fully charged battery and a half full battery, because else I'm going to be here for like about an hour with the 4 amp hour battery. Very good. Maintained its speed. Can the 2.5 do the same? That's very interesting. They both maintained top speed at half battery life. Now, the reason I'm surprised is when we tested the 4 amp hour in a previous video on just the circular saw, it was decreasing at quite a rapid rate. And I can't remember exactly now, but it lost about at least 500 RPM, going down from fully charged down to 1 bar. So maybe I should chuck these back on the circular saw, see what the difference is there. But on the angle grinder, no noticeable difference. 4 amp hour, 2 bars showing. So we have dropped nearly 700 RPM there. Now the 2.5 showing 2 bars. This will be interesting. 200 RPM higher. Wow. Well, to all the commenters who bang on every video I put out about how 21700 cells have more power, provide more torque, last longer, just so much better, they just smash the 18650 cells. Why would anyone use an 18650 cell? I think there's why. I know you guys are going to have a comeback for that, but hey, whatever. Yeah, so after using this battery for everything for the last couple of weeks, I am loving this 2.5 amp hour battery. It is, in my opinion, better than the 4 amp hour battery. It is better because A, it's much lighter. Yeah, it won't last as long. It's 2.5 amp hour instead of 4. But so what? You just change it. Everybody's got more than one friggin' battery, right? 300 grams less weight. If you're putting this onto this saw, it's the equivalent of having one less of those over the 36 volt saw, the 18x2. And if you're using an impact driver or a drill or even the angle grinder, it makes a big difference. I have not been using this angle grinder because it's just a pig to use with these batteries. They're just too big and clunky, and they're too damn heavy. It just makes the weight distribution of the impact driver all wrong. Yet with this, it's just like using the 18 volt again. So I am preferring the 2.5 over the 4. Didn't know I would do that, but there you have it. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what else you want me to test. Have your little complaints down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a look in the description. I've got tons of 40 volt videos. If you haven't been here before and haven't seen them all, there's a heap of them down there. Go check them out. There might be some up there, and I'll see you later.
18650 forever.
Good timing, boys.